My name is Susan Stilwell, and I'm a real estate broker that specializes in historic property. Today we are at 161 Holbrook Avenue. It is known historically as the Judkins House. It was built about 1893 by Mr. Judkins. I think he moved here from New York. The reason I brought you here today is to show you this typical Victorian custom, which is the fireplace in the foyer. Victorians were extremely private people. Guests were welcomed only as far as the foyer. They weren't allowed to come into the parlors. There's a formal parlor and a family parlor, but unless you were close family or friends, you didn't get any further than the foyer. This exemplifies that custom among the Victorians. Now, I would like to welcome you to the Lipscomb House. This house was built in 1885 on Main Street. Down on the lower end, this was called Penn's Bottom. At that point, in the 1880s and even in the 1890s, many towns did not have funeral homes. So homes were built with double front doors so that those doors could be opened wide enough for pallbearers to carry in the coffin. And then in the foyer, there was always a long wall where a coffin could lay at rest. So that is another one of our Victorian customs, which you can see in the architecture of the home. Welcome to the home built by James Gabriel Penn. This is one of the grandest houses in Danville. This home was built in 1876. We are in the formal parlor, and this is an original oil painting. It was done by William Lycett, who came through Danville from Atlanta in about 1879. It was very common for itinerant artists to travel around to wealthy communities, knock on doors, and be commissioned to do original artwork. The interesting fact is that William Lycett's family was here earlier, and they hand-painted the tile surround of the fireplace. It's very naturalist. There are flowers, there are butterflies, there are birds, and it also extends with blossoms onto the mirror. This is probably the best example of Victorian artwork that was built into a home of anywhere I've ever been. It's mansion quality. The Penn house, of course, had servants. It was post-Civil War, but they were wealthy enough that they had staff that waited on them. As in many Victorian homes of this magnitude, the kitchens were actually in the basement, and that staff never came upstairs. They sent the food up on this dumbwaiter, which came into this enormous room here, which is the butler's pantry. So the food would come up, and I'm sure the dirty dishes went back down on the dumbwaiter. And this butler's pantry has two doors that go to the formal dining room. And as you can tell, one door was an entrance. It opens in the way to enter that room. And the other door on the other side of the butler's pantry is an exit from the dining room. So you went in one door and out the other door, so there were never any catastrophes with dishes and food. We are at the home of James Maston Neal at 802 Main Street, and I've brought you here today because I wanted you to see the last remaining carriage stone that's left at the curb next to the street. Almost every property owner on Main Street had their own private carriages, and they had carriage stones made. This carriage stone actually has the initials of the owner of the house, but the carriage would pull up out front with a driver, and the lady of the house would go out, step onto the carriage stone, step into the carriage, and then when she came home, she would step on the carriage stone to get down so that they didn't have to carry something along with them when they were riding up and down Millionaires Row. Now that you've been able to see inside some of the Victorian treasures of Danville, if you would be interested in the holiday tour the second Sunday in December, check it out with DanvilleHistoricalSociety.org. And we have a tour guide now, Secrets Inside. Hope to see you on the sidewalks.